Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to some more Blood Bowl 2 with Disturbing Puppet. Today we're doing the playoffs. First playoff game. Well, actually, the way it's set up, there's really just one playoff game. So out of the division that I set up with the 8 teams, the top 4 were picked for the playoffs. So on my team, Skaven, Chaos Dwarves, and Necromantic. So basically, there's just one playoff game I'll be taking part in, and then there'll basically be the final. So today we're doing the playoff game, and it's actually against the same team I just played previously, which was the Skaven. So I was the top-ranked team for the regular competition. Skaven were the second-ranked. So unfortunately, playing them again for the second time in a row, I do have a bunch of players back this time who weren't in the previous game. So the rating has a much bigger difference this time. So he's going to have a lot of points for star players and all kinds of other horrible stuff. So we'll see how that goes. So today it is about 88 degrees outside. I got the fan going, so hopefully it's not too loud. If you're interested in any of the previous games or anything, I do have earlier stuff that's not up on Twitch anymore up on my YouTube channel, which is also Disturbing Puppet. So please check that out there if you're interested. So I'm going to go through the teams here real quick, and then we'll get into the game. Hopefully nothing crazy happens. We'll see. So basically just kind of been streaming stuff if I'm playing things occasionally. Just kind of figured why not. Playing this on a laptop, so I do have to alt-tab out to check chat, but I will try to do that occasionally, so if anything pops up in there, it may take me a little while to respond to it, but please feel free to put something in chat if you're interested. So my rating already is up to 2040, which is pretty high. That's actually as high as my previous team that I played, the Chaos Dwarves, which those videos are up on my YouTube channel, reached even after going through all the way to the final. With Agile teams, you do tend to get a lot more upgrades and stuff. If you're scoring a lot more often, it does mean a lot more star player points, so guys level up, so your team value does get pretty high. So I think everybody's back for this game. Yeah, it looks like everybody's here. So I do have some people with some injuries, so reduced armor value, reduced movement, that kind of thing. We'll take a look. I do have one thrower. Got doubles with a level up, so I got strong arm. Then after that, we picked up kickoff, return, accurate. So he's a really good passer. I've got 4 catchers. Started with 2. So I've got 2 here that have dodge and block. Because of the 3 strength that the high elf catchers have, I can kind of use them as blitzers or ball carriers. And having block and dodge does make me a lot harder to take down as well. So I can use them for blitzing. I can use them for carrying the ball when they're pretty tough. So all that's pretty nice. The 2 other catchers that I added later are down here. Both of them have Nerves of Steel and Dodge. I ended up rolling doubles and picked Nerves of Steel just because the tackle zones don't affect catches or intercepts. At least the attempts, anyway. So my 2 blitzers, the one that's gotten the most level ups here, got Tackle and Strip Ball. The other one hasn't received any level ups yet, still just has Block down here. I've got a bunch of linemen with block, one of whom has reduced armor, and then I have one guy who I picked up guard with who has reduced movement. That's pretty much it for the team. Let's take a quick look at the Skaven here. This is the team I just played in the previous game, but now we're into the playoffs, so playing them again. I don't think much changed. I can't remember if I actually did any real injuries or anything to him. He does have a thrower out, so I must have hurt his thrower. Yeah, I seem to recall. So we've got a Gutter Runner with a 10 movement, which is pretty dangerous. The Skaven are already really fast, but then if they get movement increases, that makes them really dangerous. He does have a lot of guys with Wrestle, too, which is kind of interesting. A bunch of linemen here with Wrestle. I only recognize this symbol because I was looking at it in the last game yesterday. I don't recognize a lot of the symbols still, even after playing this game a lot. I really just wish it would list the skills. I'm still used to that. So we've got Fend and Wrestle here. He does have Gutter Runner with Horns, which is kind of interesting. He did use him to blitz and hit my ball carrier last time. Reduced strength with the Horns if he blitzes with him makes it about an even, so okay. Wrestle and dodge with a Gutter Runner here. The increased movement Gutter Runner here. 2 Storm Vermin, guard, and then this is guard and tackle. And then, of course, the Rat Ogre, who's gotten a bunch of level ups, so break, tackle, block, juggernaut. All this makes him a little difficult to deal with. So I'm sure with the team differences in value, he's going to get all kinds of money for stuff, which is going to make things a bit more difficult than I would normally expect. Hopefully not insurmountable, though. I'd like to make it to the final here. Would be nice. I've actually only had one draw so far with this team. Everything else has been wins. I just kind of set up a thing where for the competition, I wanted every team to play every other team twice. So it was a couple round robins and then going into the playoffs. So this is basically the playoff game. Next game will be the final, provided I can win this one anyway. So just a little background, I do have a lot of experience with Blood Bowl. Used to play 2nd edition board games, so some of my experiences with the board game version. The previous game, I had my Xbox 360, so some of the teams weren't on there, which is part of the reason I'm playing the ones I have. So High Elves, before that Chaos Dwarves, and then Undead. In the board game, I used to play Undead, so that was why I really wanted to play them. I picked them for the first team I went through. So there's some other teams on here I still haven't played before that weren't in the previous version, like Norse and things like that. So yeah, maybe be playing some more down the road, or maybe playing some different games. And I do play random different games at times and stream that too. So let me just check the stream really quick. Alright, I guess we'll get into it. I'm really worried about how much crap he's going to end up buying with all the money he's going to have for the difference of the team values here. Pretty drastic difference. I can spend my own money if I want to for stuff, but it just increases the amount he has, so I'm not even going to bother. So 2 pages of stuff. Extra Team Training, Bloodweiser Babes, Halfling Master Chef, Skitter and Fez. So those are most likely star players. I'll have to take a look at them when we're setting up and see what they are. I think last time he picked up, with the money he got a Goblin Fanatic star player, and then also picked up a Gutter Runner star player for the last game. So it might even be the same 2-star players he's picking up for this one. The Goblin with the Chainsaw seems pretty popular too for the choices for AI selection for star players. Yeah, I do like you can actually see the mutation there, the horns. And then that must be the star player, maybe with the prehensile tail, I think. Yeah, it's the same. The Goblin Fanatic was a big pain. And the Gutter Runner, yeah. So it's the same star players you picked for last time. Just has a bunch of extra additional stuff too. So I'm going to kind of include a little bit of sort of my thought process as we're playing, and then some general advice for maybe people who might be newer to the game. I do make mistakes. I will miss things. You know, that does happen, especially when you're streaming and stuff. But for this, I almost always will kick the ball. I prefer to get the ball in the second half. If you kick it away to start with, you get it for the second half. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. If I can hold him off or get the ball away from him to start with and maybe score, and then I get the ball in the second half, it tends to help me a bit. If you're playing a really weak team or a team that gets beat up a lot, then you might want to go first, just so you have more options for things. You get your hits in first that way, basically. And there you can see he actually stole one of my rerolls. So what I'm probably going to do is pretty similar to what I did last time, is sort of keeping the minimum number of guys on the front line. I'm going to put all my guys with block on the front line just because it makes them a little bit tougher. Pay attention to which guys I have where. I'm going to put my catchers with block and dodge out on the sides. I want my player with guard out here as well. I'm not actually going to put him on the front line. What I'll do is kind of keep him back a little bit. I want to use him on my turn to move him up for assists where I need him. Might be a little too far back. And symmetrically, he probably should be about here, but I'm kind of keeping him back a little bit further in case, well, and most likely these guys are just going to get hammered and knocked back, and he's going to come through. It just kind of makes it a little bit more likely that he'll be free and I can move him where I want if he's a little bit further back. This would be kind of a typical setup I would choose if I'm keeping the minimum number of guys on the front line. I've got pretty good tackle zone coverage all the way across, a little bit further back. Just these minimum guys who are going to get pounded. The block might help them a little bit. It might help them stay on their feet, that kind of thing. I'm setting up first, so I don't really know exactly where his guys are going to be or what he's going to set up. I know for sure this Fanatic will be on the front line somewhere. I could try kind of a weird offset setup or something like that, but it just would leave an opening, and he would probably just set up opposite those guys anyway. So I'm just going to do a standard thing. The kicking team always sets up first, so if you are the receiving team, you know for sure the setup. In this case, I don't know what he's actually setting up.
Those players are running each other.
So in here, this X is sort of the central position. I usually would just kick for this. The kicks are pretty inaccurate in this. It actually seems worse than the previous game, but I haven't had any players that kick either. I just basically want the ball to stay in play, so he's got to make a die roll to pick it up. And the more die rolls he's got to make, the more likely he'll fail something. That's pretty much just the way it goes. And in Blood Bowl, if you got to make die rolls, you'll eventually screw something up. And even if things are going well, eventually something will go wrong. That's just the way it is. So planning for that contingency is sort of what it's all about.
That's quite a mismatch, Bob.
Here comes the Fanatic. Hoping for no injuries here to start off with. Pretty much with him, what I'll typically do with the Fanatics is just try to stay away from them. They can be a danger to their own players. So I'll just kind of avoid that area where he's at. There's not a whole lot else you can do about him. The Skaven are pretty dangerous because they're so fast that they can score really quickly if they set things up. If they have staggered gutter runners.
Well done. They have the ball now.
Here comes a nasty blitz. Definitely pushing up this side here. Just a push, that's helpful. If I can stay on my feet, it's nice. And I might be able to get to the ball carrier here. Maybe. So in Blood Bowl, what you want to do is anything safe first. Anything doesn't require any die rolls, things like that. Getting guys up is often a common thing you'd want to do first, but in some cases you may not want to. So in this case, I probably don't want him to be here. I'd like to dodge him away from here. So I'm not going to do that first. I'm going to do everything else that's sort of important first. I do have a pretty good agility, so I've got a good chance, but he does have prehensile tail, which counteracts it a little bit, so it's a 60-some% chance. But going after the ball and doing other things is probably a bit more important. Yeah, if I clear this guy out, I might be able to get through to the ball carrier. I would like to really target his gutter runners if I can. They're sort of big targets for me. With the reduced strength and stuff, I'd really like to hurt them if possible. There's main guys that are going to handle the ball. So we'll see if we can clear a path by taking this guy out. And block is such a useful skill. Yeah, I can get it close to him. If I go for it a couple times, I can get adjacent to him, which causes some problems for him. I've had really bad luck with going for it rolls, though. don't really like going for it in this game. It's supposed to be a 1 in 6 chance, so on a die roll, only a 1 results in a failure in going for it, falling on your face. But it really seems like, based on the number of times I end up failing at it, that it's more like a 50% chance. It's almost what it seems like. Just going to run some guys through this gap here, just to kind of get in the way and cause some problems. I could have really tried to push it with a couple going for it to get it just adjacent to him without actually throwing a block on him. But I think instead what I'm going to do is hammer this guy on the side, and then we'll try to move around multiple different angles towards the ball. I do want to avoid this guy here if possible. If I can get injuries on these guys early on, it would be really nice. I'm just going to kind of stay in this general area, staying on this guy. He'll be getting up next turn. Going to try to go for it here to get adjacent. I still have my reroll. Okay. I'd like to cover this gutter runner, but I want to get as far away from this fanatic as I can. And I'd like to get these guys away from him. I typically don't pay attention to the clock much. It tends to kind of rush me if I am watching it really closely. So like there, I knew I was getting close because I could hear it, vroom, vroom, you know, sort of thing. But still managed to get everything I wanted to do done. We do have a pretty good number of Skaven on this side. If he can shift over, he can build a pretty good cage. I do have my thrower deep. I wasn't going to do anything with him anyway, to kind of have somebody who can deal with the situation if he gets pushing down this way. Got my blitzer here as well. So we'll just kind of see what he ends up doing. And again, I'm playing this on a laptop, so I do have to Alt-Tab out to check the chat, but if there's anything in there, I will check occasionally just to see. I just may not respond really quickly if anyone puts anything in there. Just gonna hammer my poor lineman who's on the ground. So it'd be really nice if he fails some dodges or something here to uses up a reroll, gets a turnover that way. It's not super likely with his rerolls, but it's possible. The Skaven are really quick, but they still just have the 3 agility. None of his guys had any agility increases. Although the star player does have a 4 agility. Yeah, I didn't actually go over and look at him. It's the same as I had last time, so he's got stab, prehensile tail. He does still just have the 2 strength and the 9 movement like a regular gutter runner, but does have that increased 4 agility. So he's a pretty big target for me as well. So all the gutter runners, including the star player, for me are really big targets. If I can get the ball away and score, I want to do this quickly as I can because of the fanatic. Counts as a secret weapon. So if I can score and play stops, I'm going to hammer my thrower here. That means that the star player will be out for the rest of the game. So anytime play stops, that guy's done. So based on this, I'm assuming he's probably going to try running it out to this side. He passes his dodge roll, but he's not actually going that far. I thought he might move up here and try to hand off to this, the star player, gutter runner, and then have him run it on down the field, but instead he's trying to build a cage around the ball carrier. I do have some angles that I can probably get to the ball carrier here. Well, now he's making it harder. Okay. So who's down on the ground? So this guy's down and totally free, so go ahead and get him up. I'm going to move a bit far away from the fanatic there and try to cover the gutter runner that's down here. I would like to get him out of there, so I'll have to dodge with him, so I'll do that a little bit later. Got advantageous blocks, advantageous blocks. Yeah, I'd really like to get this guy taken care of, and then I could have this catcher be the one to blitz the ball carrier. So that's kind of the plan. Probably will just stand him up for the assist, even though I don't actually need it right now. He does have block, and I don't, so that's a little bit dangerous, but it's not super crazy. We're going to wait to do anything with him in case we can get the ball free. We might then try to converge on the ball. So I'm going to try to take care of this guy here. So my instincts often, because I played a lot of bruiser teams, are to sort of beat people up and make openings. With more agile teams, you do have a lot more options, but I'm often sort of not my first instinct to do that. So here, what I was looking at was I can blitz and hit this guy back here to kind of break into the cage, but I do have to make a dodge roll. So normally I wouldn't even think about it, but playing a more agile team, it's a pretty good chance. So we're going to go ahead and go for that. So we'll see if we can dodge away. Use a reroll. So even 83% chances will fail. And the reason I had to use a reroll is because he does have tackle. So this guy does have block, so he's the one that I would want to get the hit in with. No actual injury, but he is stunned, so it's a little bit safer. I'll go ahead and move up adjacent to the ball carrier here. Move some guys over sort of in front of them, not adjacent. We've got tackles on coverage to the edge, so we have to make some dodge rolls. If I wanted to tie them up directly, I could put guys adjacent, but right now I'm kind of limiting the number of people he has free blocks on. So I'll go ahead and go with my advantageous blocks that I've got. Keep hoping to get some kind of injury here or something. Well, that's not good. I've already used a reroll, so unfortunately this will happen sometimes, especially when blocking. Double attacker down. If he wanted to do something really crazy, it's certainly possible he can score. There's always a chance whenever you've got somebody deep like this. It's really just kind of maybe a couple 60% rolls, something like that. Running through, dodging, throwing the ball, catching, that kind of thing. With agile teams or fast teams, you have a lot of options pretty quickly to score. So if you're used to kind of playing a slower bruiser team like Undead or Dwarves or something, it can be a really different feeling to play a really fast agile team. But playing against them, you have to kind of take that into account as well. So there's a bit of sort of knowing your own team, but also kind of knowing the other teams. That's very helpful. If you're playing slow teams, for example, you don't want to overcommit to one side or the other. You want to kind of keep in mind that the other teams can adjust and shift from one side of the field to the other a lot faster than you, so don't overcommit. So there's different things like that you want to think about. Now see, and that's tempting for him being on the edge there because I can potentially blitz down and knock him off the field of play, which even if it doesn't hurt him, will cause him to be out of the game until play stops. So now he's got his ball handler free. So we can move him forward, but I do have some guys sort of blocking with tackle zones. So we've got tackle zone coverage all the way through to about here, where we'd have to make some kind of rolls to come through anywhere. He's already blitzed, so he can't take out any of these guys from their positions, so we'd have to dodge through. So he's playing it super safe and just creeping forward and trying to keep a cage around him. There is time. I mean, it's still pretty early in the game, so it's not a terrible tactic. That's one thing that sometimes I'll do with slower teams is sometimes if you do have that opening is just run for it, but then you often might just get swarmed by the enemy. It's really tempting sometimes to do that, though. Here, I'm just going to stand this guy up. It's fine. Kind of leave him here. Sort of use the guys we already have down here to go after the ball. It's really, really tempting to blitz and just hit this guy and try to knock him off. I'd get 2 dice. All I need is a push. But I think I'd rather go for the ball carrier. And I do have a guy with strip ball here. Got an advantageous block there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the ball carrier and just see what I can get. If I can get the ball free and then where it'll go. And just a push. Unfortunately, it does mean the ball will go free because I don't think he has sure hands. I'm going to stay put because I want to respond to where the ball goes. Okay, actually, I'll probably stay right here. I could try to pick it up, but it's be a -2, which is not great. So I'd probably just stay and put my own negative for him trying to get the ball from there. So we'll see if I can free up my catcher here with a block. So I could run him around to also be sort of in this position. I could move him here for an assist for a block here, and I could move him here just to sort of counteract things, make things difficult. But I think what I'm going to do is move here for the assist, just to throw a block there. Since that guy does have block. Follow it up. Like to get him away from that rat ogre if possible. So I can move him up into this area, but just in case things go wrong and he can pick up the ball and can move down and maybe do something crazy, what I'm going to do is sort of hang out around these guys. So if he does try to pass the ball or something, I might have a chance to intercept. So I'm not actually going to go adjacent. Trying to look at somewhere where I might be available to get an interception attempt if he passes to someone. Really only him would be the one I'd be able to try to cover. I might have to be further over to do that. But I think we'll leave him there for right now. If I can get him away, then I can move him over as well. So I have some more advantageous blocks we'll throw. He does have dodge, so it's just a push. Unfortunately. Just trying to throw whatever blocks I can. You got to throw the blocks if you want to get injuries, so you got to keep trying rolling those dice and trying. So we're going to try to move him away here. It doesn't work. Got to reroll. It's the power of Prehensile Tail. Tempted to kind of move further over, but I've already used my reroll, and I have terrible luck with going for it rolls, so I'm going to call that good. Not throwing a block here. It'd be an even block, where he's got block and I don't. So yeah, I'm generally not going to take that risk. The one-die blocks I'll almost never do unless I'm hitting the ball carrier. The AI will do that a lot, though. A lot of one-die blocks, and even blocks where it's at a strength disadvantage. Kind of interesting that he's putting a couple guys on my thrower down there. Moving that fanatic closer. It doesn't make me happy. He can be dangerous to his own guys, though, so it's a little dangerous being in that position. I'm surprised he got that. Going after my thrower again. I really don't want him getting hurt. No injury. Okay, we can breathe. Just making those dodge rolls. Just sort of covering his guys that are down here. So him, I definitely want to get out of that position. Sort of repositioning him to kind of be in the way if there's a pass attempt or something to the players that are down here. We've got advantageous blocks, which can free up some people. So here I do have a pretty good block. I've got block and 2 dice. He doesn't. Just a push. We'll follow it up. If I stayed, I could have had an advantageous block here as well. But just trying to move this star player away from the ball carrier. Unfortunately, because of him, now this is just a 1-die block on the ball carrier. I haven't used a reroll yet, so I may go ahead and just do that. I don't think I can get somebody else into a position to get an assist. I can get assists here if I block this guy and then free up some people, and then maybe get an assist here or assist here. So I'll try to do this first and free up some people. Staying put there instead of following up, just so I have somebody who's a little bit further out to the side in case he readjusts and shifts over. This time we'll take him down. So now I have my player with guard free. So now I've got a couple dice here. I don't have block, he does, so it's still a little bit dangerous. Go ahead and go for it here. Get a little bit lucky. I'm actually going to stay put. Don't want to get any closer to the Fanatic if I can avoid it. Kind of pushing him in an area next to the Fanatic. I haven't had to use a reroll, so we'll go ahead and go for this 1-die block here. And just to push again. I'm going to follow up just to get away from the Fanatic. Knock the ball free. So now there's still 2 guys on the ball. It's pretty hard to get to. I mean, it's, I think, a 50% chance for me to try to pick it up if I want to go for it. Not great, but not super terrible. You'll have worse odds sometimes in Blood Bowl. Go ahead and do another crazy block here that I shouldn't. Just to try to free up the ball a little bit. Maybe make it easier for next turn. Now we'll try to get him out of here. No rerolls though. Trying to stay away from the edge here. He's got this Rat Ogre is probably just going to keep charging him down. I could throw another 1-die block. We both have block, so it's not super dangerous, but I don't have a reroll. I'm not going to risk it. I'd rather have someone covering him for sure than to try to knock him down, end up failing, opening up that side for him to advance down or something. Let's see if he's going to blitz my poor thrower here again with his Rat Ogre. Oh, stab ended up working. Just a stun though, thankfully. Fails his wild animal roll, which is good. That screws up his blitz for the turn. So I'm looking like I probably have a pretty good chance of getting the ball here this time. And if I can get the ball, I'll probably want to go ahead and score here as quickly as I can. I'd rather have someone else other than this blitzer score, though. This catcher's got a lot of star player points as well already. I'm going to move my player with guard down adjacent to these guys. Yeah, pretty much the only people who can really get the ball in and then score would be either one of these two. Could with him if I went for it a few times. So before trying to get the ball and scoring, is there anything else I want to do? The easiest thing would probably be with the blitzer to get it and go down. So in case that messes up, I'm just going to leave him there adjacent to the ball. We'll set up some blocks here, I think. I already have one here, so now I've got another good block. We'll try to do those blocks first. Keep hoping to get an injury here. I just need one more star player point with this blitzer for him to level up. So that would be nice.
Unity is strength.
Got a whole lot of blocking going on. You can probably tell at this point that my experience is mostly with bruiser teams beating people up. Even with agile teams, I will tend to throw a lot of blocks. I probably shouldn't throw so many, but it just kind of ends up happening. So we'll go ahead and go in for the touchdown here, which will mean the Fanatic will be done for the game. That's the Fanatic gone. Since I scored, I am kicking again, even though he received the kick to start with. Don't think anything was changed or switched around. Nobody got hurt. So the same setup was fine, basically. And doing the same kind of thing. We just want the ball to stay in play. He does have his Rat Ogre right on the line this time. And he can move his guys a free square if he wants to. So that's a pretty good kick. It's pretty far back. He'll have to make a roll to pick it up. If it ends up going off or bouncing off the field, then it just means he'll be able to automatically give it to any player he wants, which can be really dangerous. If he puts it to someone who's up here, they can dodge around, run down the side. So there, he did successfully pick it up. We are on his turn 6 anyway. That's plenty of time for Skaven to score, actually. Really, 2 turns is all they really need. If they advance people down far enough the field on the first turn, and then they can run it up and then hand it off or do a short pass, they can definitely score in just 2 turns. With some teams, you can sort of slow them down enough that you can wear it down where the time runs out or they're not going to have enough time to actually be able to make it down the field and score. But with agile teams, quick teams, passing teams, it's just impossible almost. If they've got 2 turns, they can score. So he's building a pretty big cage. Lots of his players committed to protecting the ball there. Make it pretty hard to get in there. So he may just target his other gutter runners and people that are free. If he wants to slowly creep forward, give me some opportunities to pound his other guys, I'll take it. Yeah, there's really no way I can get into that cage that he's got built up around there. I can sort of disrupt it and cause some problems, especially for the gutter runners who have reduced strength. So doing a little harassing, tying people down a little bit.
Smell your breath and see the dead insects in your teeth. More the merrier.
I'm going to leave my thrower here deep, not going to do anything with him. See if I can make an opening here to advance through, possibly.
Around that lone player, like halflings round a sapling. He's following up, hoping to get the knockout next time.
So now I do have a path that if I want to blitz, I can hit the star player with. So I would like to do that. And then we'll put my catcher, I'll put him on the side here, so we have coverage all the way to the edge of the field. Be nice to hurt this guy. He's got dodge, so nothing really matters here. And I'll follow it up to stay on him. I'm actually just going to pull him back, playing very defensively here, just so I have a couple people who can respond if they end up coming deep. And that's pretty much about it for now. Right now I'm sort of just buying for time. If I can get access to the ball, I will, but it's not something I'm going to really commit everybody I can to. If I overcommit here, he could end up handing the ball off to somebody and running it way down the field. But if he doesn't get anybody further down the field this turn, he won't be able to score next time. And that's something that AI does seem to not be quite so good at. It does seem like it's a lot better than the previous game, especially about skill selection, taking out players who are adjacent to other guys instead of trying to dodge away from them, doing those kind of things more. But it doesn't quite pay so much attention to how many turns are left and how far you'd have to move to have a chance to score, things like that. So sort of it's pre-thought about placement and how far people are away. So ideally it would want to have one of the gutter runners further down. These guys can potentially score as well, though. It's possible. You get the wild animal failure there, which also messes up his blitz. I think. You declare him as a blitz? Maybe not. Thought it showed him declare blitz there, but I could be mistaken. So we'll see where he ends up going, but right now these guys are a bit dangerous where they're at, especially that gutter runner. See what he does with the ball this turn. He's making a lot of dodge rolls here. There's a turnover. That'll be helpful. That's why those one-die blocks are really dangerous. So now I've got a clear shot at the ball carrier, and I've got guys free. But in case that goes wrong, we definitely want to cover these guys if we can. So just kind of positioning myself here so if he does end up getting the ball, it restricts where he can get access to and move to. So something like this, at least I've got tackle zone coverage from here to here, so he'd have to spend extra movement getting out to the sides to get away, unless he wants to make dodge rolls running through there. So just in case things go wrong. Things can always go wrong. So I kind of want to hit the ball carrier before I do anything else, just in case I might need a reroll. Leaves guys free to go after the ball as well, depending on where it ends up. So we're actually going to take him down here. We'll push him over to this side, I guess, and follow up since he's going down. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the ball free so somebody else could run down the field with it. Now if I want to advance, I've actually got to make a dodge roll. But since I've got good agility, it's not super bad. I'm not going to go for it here, I don't think. Yeah, if I want to score next turn, which will be the 8th turn, I do have to get at least one further to not have to go for it next time. So I'll go ahead and go for it now. I haven't used the reroll yet. So I'm going to call that good. I'm not going to push it any further and try to go for it. I've had multiple times where going for it has failed and then the reroll has also failed. I've had entire games where every time I've gone for it, including rerolls, and my opponent has gone for it, including rerolls, they have all failed. So I'm very leery about any kind of going for it rolls. No matter what the percentages really are, it doesn't always seem like it is going to work out. So we're going to try to tie these guys up and give my ball carrier some protection here. What else can I do? I guess I just have an advantageous block here. We'll go ahead and go for. And just a push. And that's pretty much it. If he can get the ball away from me, he's in a good position. He's got a lot of guys further down the field, but I have okay coverage on it. Hopefully I can keep the ball here, so we'll see how it goes. Swarm my catcher here, it looks like. You can blitz with those guys that are down, and you can do that as well. It's something that will help you sometimes, as long as you declare that blitz before you get the guys up. So this is a little bit crazy. He's going to be at a disadvantage, so this is something AI will do a lot, blocking when he's at a die advantage, and often it works out okay for him, which is kind of surprising. Here he ends up just pushing me towards the end zone, though, but you would expect that would almost always backfire when it's 2 dice and your opponent gets to pick. So another stab. Really getting tired of that guy stabbing my players. Just a KO, though.
Let's take a quick look at that. Unmistakable sign. The player's eyes rolling up into his head. For some time.
Yeah, we finally got a failure on a dodge. A nice turnover.
Oh no, my mistake. He's on the
So other than scoring, is there anything I want to do? I wouldn't mind getting a good hit in on this guy. I don't know what I just did there. There we go. First, we'll try to clear the ball carrier so he doesn't have to make a dodge roll at all. Wrestle's fine. So I've got a clear run here into the end zone. He's already used up all his turns, so even if I don't end up getting in because some kind of turnover or something happens, it's still fine. So really the only other thing I would like to do would be to get a good hit in on this star player. So I think we'll just do that, and then we'll go ahead and go for the score. Just hoping to get an injury here would be nice.
Come on, guys. Together.
KO. Yeah, I really would like somebody else to score, but nobody can really get in range for me to hand it off and then get the ball down. So go ahead and just go for the score. Which also levels him up. I like to try to spread around star player points as much as I can. It's something to kind of keep in mind as you're leveling guys up. If you do have somebody who's much more powerful than everybody else, he does become a big target for your opponent. If everyone's about even, it's kind of okay. If you lose one, it's not quite so big of a deal. So now we're up 2-0, and I'll be receiving the ball because I elected to kick it away at the beginning. Part of the reason I like to do that, definitely guaranteeing to get the ball for the second half. And my knocked out guys stay knocked out, unfortunately. It's a little bit of a downside, but doing okay. And he doesn't steal any of my rerolls this time, which is nice. So he's kicking, so this is definitely the setup he's got going. So I can set up knowing what he's got as far as his placement. Definitely don't want my blitzers on the front line, that's for sure. Definitely don't want a catcher on the front line either. It's kind of a weird setup here. So since he doesn't have anyone right on the line here, it's fairly safe to be right on it opposite. Having these guys who might be handling the ball forward gives me a little bit closer to the end zone, which can make a difference for scoring quickly. Just going to keep my thrower back deep. He's got kickoff return, so he can get the ball and then toss it downfield. So what I may do is actually put my guy with guard here in the front line. It makes it a little bit offset, but does mean I'll have automatic assists on these two guys. Have my guys with block will be the ones to actually throw the blocks. So sometimes you do something a bit lopsided depending on his setup to give you an advantage. Or if he has a big guy in the line, you might want to do things like avoiding the big guy, putting more guys out on the edges, or keeping the minimum number of guys. Just sort of depends on the circumstances. But if you can give yourself a block die advantage to start with, that's always helpful. So I'll move over towards the ball. I don't mind it being deep there. It's fine.
Some say it's perfect for playing Blood Bowl. I call it done.
As long as I can manage to pick it up anyway. So yeah, I'd like to hit this star player. So probably I'll blitz on this side and tag him from the side there. So on this side, we'll just kind of move up and tie people up.
That's a holding maneuver if ever I saw one.
And I'm just going to move a catcher down so I have somebody who is downfield. He might pull some people away to cover him, which would be a nice distraction. But also having someone who's in a position where if they get the ball, they can very quickly, easily score. It's always nice to at least have the opportunity. Sometimes you'll be in a position where if you didn't plan ahead and have somebody further downfield, you have no chance of getting it in the time you've got left. So at least having some people down at least gives you the opportunity that maybe something will develop that'll work out okay. So we're going to see if we can get something going on this star player.
That's it. Get in their face.
Really like to hurt this guy. I'm going to stay put for now. We'll see what the results are. Move up, just kind of give myself more advantageous blocks here on the front line. Just kind of inch forward here a little bit. So we do have tackle zone coverage all the way to the edge. So we'll see if we can take down this front line.
This is going to be decisive. This player likes to be well assisted.
We've got that block there, so nothing really happens. Yeah, I'd kind of like to leave him free so I can move him if I want to, either here or here on my turn for assists. I could go ahead and put him in here, but most likely this guy's going to come down and throw some blocks or add to the edge here. So for right now, I'm just going to kind of move back a little bit in the center, so I have him for my turn. Hopefully he'll be free. I can move him up where I want. And you try to pick up the ball. Yep, even 83% chances will fail. Okay. I'm far enough back that I'm basically safe here, so I'm not really too worried. Just kind of advancing where I can. The Skaven are pretty quick, though, so they could get behind the line and back towards me pretty quickly. But I've got possible targets down deep that I could throw the ball to on my turn. If he starts rushing towards me, I can move up this way and toss it, roll out this way, toss a long bomb, something like that. So let's see what he's going to do. Doesn't look like he's actually going to chase down the ball or anything. He's just going to try to hammer my guys that are over here. There's a blitz fail.
You should hire a team player.
It's one of the reasons with the big guys that I don't often like. If some of them have stupidity or a wild animal, declaring blitzes with them is a little bit dangerous because of that. I know that was kind of frustrating for me when I played Chaos in the previous game. I had that happen a lot. So I think I'm going to move my guy with guard up into here. I'd really like to throw a block on this gutter runner star player there. Him, I'd like to dodge him around and just cover this guy, so we'll do that in a minute. Is there any other blitzes I might want to do? I could blitz and have him hit one of these guys. So I've got some blocks, potentially. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and just do another blitz. I really would like to get an injury with him as well, which would level him up. So I keep trying to use him to get some pain going on the opposing team. I'm going to stay put. I don't want to end up in that mess. But just covering him one-on-one is fine. So I am going to go ahead and do this now, because if things go wrong, I want somebody covering this guy, so there's at least a chance that he'll fail a dodge roll. Because the last thing I'll probably do would be to move him and then maybe think about tossing the ball somewhere. So I'll take on these advantageous blocks I've got, and of course there we've got double attacker downs again. Try to hit the star player. Block coming in useful again. Block is such a useful skill. Just looking at who I would want to get the ball to score. Actually, this blitzer wouldn't be too bad of a choice. For right now, I think he's going to hold on to the ball. I'm just going to kind of run it over. We'll see if he commits this direction. I can always then kind of readjust to the other side and toss the ball if I want to. Hopefully far enough back that I'm relatively safe. This guy can definitely get to him, but he's got to reduce strength. He still might try to do that, though. It's very tempting to just kind of toss the ball down here and then run down maybe to here with this guy, but there's still guys free, including the Rat Ogre, who could charge him down. So it's not nearly as safe as it would seem. It's certainly a decent pass I could make without too much problem.
Do you think there's going to be any action at all in this game? I'd like to see something happen, or I'm just going to go and watch Game of Thrones.
Okay. As I just said, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
That ball moved faster than a snuttling with the run.
I still haven't moved him, so I can move the blitzer to kind of protect. Kind of moving him over to sort of run interference. Makes him a little bit of a target, but gives me some tackle zone coverage for access towards the ball carrier. I'm going to leave him here tying these guys up, although it does give them an advantageous block. Not going to do anything there. So it's a little risky to kind of break out. I often will wait until I'm within touchdown range to do that kind of thing and throw a toss and then be within range to just run in and score. I'm just going to have to go for it here to get in the way. Hopefully he'll fail. Nope.
I bet the opposition didn't even see it go by.
I'm
Getting a good block here, actually.
When it smells like old cheese, I let it rip. Solid tackle. Carrying the ball, and you stop.
Okay, the Rat Ogre has the ball. Somehow he managed to catch it. To look at what his agility is. I thought it was like a 1 or a 2 or something. Maybe it's a 3. So now we have to take down the Rat Ogre. Yeah, 2 agility, so his chances of getting that weren't super great. Okay, you can just stand up. If I can move my player with guard down, that would help, although he's got a short movement, so I'm not sure I can get down far enough to be adjacent. To try for it, so I'm going to see if I can free him up here.
Is this going to be enough to come out on top?
And I'm actually staying where I'm at, so there's a gap here that I can move through without having to run around the line with my player with guard. As long as I can clear this guy out as well.
Likes to be well assisted in the fight.
Yeah, I have to go for it twice just to get adjacent to him. Like I said before, I really don't like going for it rolls in this game. I think I'm going to have to try for it, though. Okay. Breathe again. As long as I've got rerolls, I guess it's, not super crazy, but... It definitely feels dangerous, that's for sure, based on my experience in this game.
They'll need to get rid of the ball. Now there's pressure on them. This could be a sack. I love it.
So I basically have set up with 6 guys if I can cancel this guy's tackle zone. And then we can just move up to cancel his tackle zone. So we can just throw a block here. With someone who's got block and tackle and strip ball.
They're going for the ball.
He's got blocks, so I'm actually going to use a reroll here. I really want to take him down. Okay, he ends up with the ball. Kind of wanted to leave him here to help cover these guys. If I can get somebody else down there, it would be kind of a nice foul target as well to go after him. Just sort of moving in a position where I can move down the field, but also sort of covering this guy with possible interception if he tries to toss the ball, if he can get the ball away from me, which is certainly possible. He can just blitz and get him up and hammer that ball carrier without much difficulty at all. And him, I'll probably just leave here to tie these guys up. He'll probably just dodge out the gutter runner. Maybe throw a block against me there too. Be great if he tries to declare a blitz with the Rat Ogre and then has him fail for Wild Animal while he's on the ground. That would be awesome. I think that's exactly what just happened. I couldn't tell for sure if the blitz was declared there. Yeah, it looks like I can see the lightning bolt. That's the danger of the characters, the big guys, the Wild Animal or Stupidity. The treemen are a little better, actually. If they take root, they just can't move anywhere. Oh, we got an injury. No long-term effect is fine. I pretty much save that for deaths. My guys are really expensive, so you can only use an apothecary once per game. So strength reductions, agility reductions, or death is pretty much all I'm going to kind of go for with it. So I do have some good blocks I can try to throw here. And I can also blitz and try to hit this gutter runner. So I'm going to do that first before trying to score. I could even try to foul the Rat Ogre here if I wanted to do that. Maybe I will, actually. So moving him back in a position where he can assist for the foul. In case that goes wrong, we'll do everything else first. Anything else we might want to do anyway?
Players arrive to assist their teammate. Players about to get punched above and
Another double attacker down.
at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm planning on fouling here, so what I want to do is sort of move him to the other side, closer to the end zone. I'll move everybody I can over for assists for the foul. Thinking about, probably will have my lineman here do it. It's really useful to have somebody with guard, but the other guys are sort of more important. So 83%. Does nothing, not even a stun. And my guy didn't get called off the field either, so that's okay. I don't foul that often, every once in a while, mainly against star players or the big guys. It sort of depends on the team I'm playing too, a little bit. When I was playing Chaos Dwarves, I did it a lot more with the Hobgoblins. Something about the Hobgoblins just seemed really appropriate for them to be fouling, so I would do that a little bit more. So I don't really have anything else I really want to do. I'm in a pretty good position here where if I want to, I can kill some time and I can kind of beat up on some of his guys further down the field where I have them outnumbered. So I may do that a little bit just to burn some time off the clock. It sort of depends on whether the ball carrier gets threatened or not. There's another blitz. Yeah, and this is a case where, thankfully at least I do have dodge. He's going to end up pushing me even more thanks to Frenzy. So I'd still like to go after that Rat Ogre maybe. I've got him sort of swarmed, or the other guys maybe do some blocks before scoring. Let's see. So here we're just sort of standing up, keeping guys tied up a little bit. Wouldn't mind getting a block on him. Wouldn't mind hitting this guy either. Probably blocking too much. Like I said, it's something that I often feel like I'm doing a little bit too much, playing undead and dwarves and things like that a bit too much. So playing a more agile team, I kind of feel like sometimes I'm throwing a few too many blocks here and there. So just moving up for assists, I'll then probably blitz with him and hit the ball carrier, or hit the, not the ball carrier, the Rat Ogre here. So as long as you blitz before you stand up, you're fine. And we both have block. I'm not going to use my last reroll on that. See if we can hurt this guy would be nice. And I'll use Wrestle. Yeah, even actually the ball carrier could even throw a block on the Rat Ogre here if I wanted to. If I want to stall and burn some time. He's relatively well protected. Yeah, let's burn a little bit of time here. Down he goes. I'm not actually going to foul this time, but we'll move my guy with guard adjacent, sort of protecting the ball carrier there, making it difficult for the Rat Ogre to do much of anything. He does have guys free here who can kind of rush down and try to get around the side towards the ball carrier. Try to get out of here and then maybe move up and tie up some people who are closer. So it reduces the number of people he's got free who can just run down without having to make at least a dodge roll.
They've gone into the opponent's tackle zone. They should be good.
Don't think I can stall much longer, though. He's kind of getting a lot more guys further down the field.
Yeah, smells like a good old-fashioned fight.
If I can get some advantageous blocks, I'll probably take them, but that's about it. And there's another wild animal failure, which is nice. All those dice and just a push. Yeah, just in case things go wrong, we'll still sort of plan on doing our normal stuff here. Just kind of standing these guys up to keep them tied up. Could potentially throw a block there, that wouldn't be too bad. I'm actually going to try to throw a block on this guy on the end. Just kind of keeping the idea of trying to hurt the gutter runners if I can.
Smell your breath and see the dead in front. Just one more step.
Here, unfortunately, I don't have block, and he does, so even though I can move people over for assists, it's not a great block to try. So go ahead and try for this one. Probably just go ahead and score after that. There's an injury, finally. So I could potentially try to foul the Rat Ogre again. It's tempting. I could get a block here, but it's even with 2 dice, I'm at a skill disadvantage. So anything I do is really kind of risky at this point. He's getting more and more guys down here as well. Pretty much all these guys are going to be able to be down here next turn. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and score here. So at this point, I think I can confidently say I'll be making it to the final. That's a really odd setup there. There's somebody with block. Even with the reduced armor, having block on the front line is still really useful. I'm keeping my guy with guard deep here a little bit again, so I can use him on my turn if I want to. Got my catchers with block out on the sides. That'll work. He's doing the same thing with the Rat Ogre offset a little bit, which is kind of unusual. Usually expect to see him right on the front line. And I just want the ball to stay in play here, so he's got to make a roll to pick it up. Unfortunately, it's a high kick. He wants his rat ogre to catch it. Hopefully he will fail that. There we go. So he still has to make a roll to pick it up. And his rat ogre is much further away from the line. Kind of an odd choice there to have the rat ogre do that, and he's going to fail.
Next time they should hire a team player.
As much as the big guys are a lot of fun, they do have a lot of limitations. Most of them can't also get block unless you roll doubles with them. So if you can end up rolling doubles with them and getting the block, they become much more useful, but still having the stupidity or wild animal or things like that can kind of limit their usefulness. Sort of depends on your luck a little bit, I guess, but there's already a lot of randomness in the game, and you're sort of adding additional randomness by having them there. They can still be fun, but it's just more random. Kind of like if you play a Goblin team, you don't necessarily expect to actually win, necessarily, but you can pull off incredibly crazy, insane stuff sometimes, which is really awesome, which is a lot of fun. Sometimes things will work just perfect, everything will go the way you want, you'll pull off some amazing stuff. Other times it definitely won't go your way. And here he's just wiping out my front line. Another injury. Yeah, no long-term effect, it's fine. Just going to head down towards the ball here. I probably will blitz here with him because I really would like him to get an injury, just kind of keep hitting people. Go after the gutter runner here on the edge. Just going to use who I can to chase down the ball carrier. Go ahead and see if we can do something here. No injury, unfortunately. Yeah, just thinking about if I want to stay here to help cover him when he gets up, or if I want to move in towards the ball carrier as well. Yeah, either one is not a bad choice. I don't want to overcommit too far deep, though, so I think I'll keep him there for now. And here, in case things go wrong, we're just going to play a bit more defensively, keeping these guys back. Him deep, him over the side, to sort of center here.
I've often wondered who would win in a fight between you and Morgan Thorne.
Contractually, I'm not allowed to say, Joe. Suffice to say that the matter
He's got a few turns here, so he could score, but he's got to move some of the gutter runners or the star player, somebody up this turn. Although this guy with the 10 movement, if he was standing, 10 movement is pretty far with a couple of going for it rolls. It's pretty much almost from here, I think almost to the end zone. Well, poor Blitzer's going to get hammered here.
Because two big guys is always better
Reminds me of the famous
And no injury, thankfully.
the Great Unclean. But this time, no miracle.
Intimidation is the key. Strength and height.
He's going to leave that catcher free there. Yeah, surprisingly. Okay, so anything that doesn't require die rolls we'll go with first. Just trying to cover some of his guys he's got deep here. Try to keep in mind who we might want to go for the ball.
That's it. Get in their face.
A little double coverage here on this guy.
Move right next to a teammate.
He would be someone he definitely would want to get the ball to and hand off to and then have run into the end zone. But we want to make it difficult for him anywhere, even from here. Just kind of moving over so I have an assist there.
He's coming to help his buddy. That's gonna hurt.
Probably be using him to go for the ball carrier here. So I think before we do anything else, we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to come in from this angle so I can knock him off to this side. Maybe the ball come free and somewhere that's a little bit more free. If I knock him over this way, the ball can end up off
Especially if a ball
the side, and then it gets kind of tossed in sort of a random place.
They're going for the ball.
So I've got block, and he doesn't. Oh, wow. That was that guy with horns. So he is dead. Well, using Apothecary. And not injured at all. Okay. But he'll be out till play stops anyway. So it always does this when you blitz where it looks like you can't do anything, you're done. But if you click on the player, if you still have movement, you can still move and do stuff. So I am going to go ahead and move adjacent. Try to cover the ball here. This is my last turn. So really I'm just kind of setting things up for making things as difficult for him as possible. It's possible that I could, if I picked it up and could move out here, I could make a quick toss over and run in the ball. It's possible. It's not super likely. I do have a reroll left. It's picking up the ball that's the main problem. Tossing it, maybe not too bad. I don't know. That's a little bit tempting to kind of go for something that crazy at the end of the game. Yeah, 50% dodge, 67% pickup. Yeah, he's got prehensile tail, so that's making things harder. Yeah, I'm just going to play it safe. I'm not going to go for another touchdown here. So that kind of makes it free for him. We'll just move over adjacent to the ball, make it harder for him to pick up. So just going to play defensively. I could do some kind of crazy stuff, but if you were behind or you were needed a point to tie, there's always times like that where if you have somebody free or have somebody downfield, you've got that chance. So keeping that kind of stuff in mind, even if it's a couple 50%, a couple 60%, it's still a chance. If you don't have anybody in position at all, you've got, no opportunity at all. There's nothing you can do. So I'll just kind of throw any blocks I've got with an advantage here.
He's following up, hoping to get the knockdown next time.
Here I'm actually going to stay put. I just want somebody free. If I move over, it has tackle zone coverage less far over. This way he's at least got to come down this far and then try to move over. If I'm over here, it's easier for him to come down and use less movement points to get to this guy. So really what he needs to do is get the ball, move down here, hand it off to him, have him dodge out and get in if he wants to score. Not super likely, but it's possible. Kind of like that touchdown attempt I could have tried to make. It's difficult. It's a lot of 50% and stuff, but it's still possible.
That's a holding maneuver if ever I saw one.
Now it's just a simple matter of getting the ball at their feet. It's never simple.
Trying to stab. I think he'd be the one who'd try to grab the ball. Instead, he's going to try to get this guy over. That'll be the end of the game.
So, let's count, Jim. I've lost count. I mean, I can only count to 3 anyway. That was block, right?
We've got increased fame by a couple. That's okay. 3 is fine. Fan factor is the same. So yeah, that was the playoff game. So next time will be the final. There were only 4 teams going in, so that was it. Just one playoff game. The other playoff game that's going on is Necromantic versus Chaos Dwarf. So we'll see which one of those two I'll be looking at. So I had 6 armor breaks. He had 12 armor breaks against me. Ball possession, not too different. 1 pass, 1 catch. 48 blocks, 1 KO, 2 injuries. 1 KO, 2 injuries. Same. 70 yards running, 16 yards passing. Not too bad. Actually had a decent amount. A couple injuries and then the MVP. So it looks like Chaos Dwarf beat Necromantic. So the final will be my team, the High Elves, against the Chaos Dwarf team. I think the last time, I can't remember if it was this, there's actually 2 Chaos Dwarf teams in this campaign. And the last one I played actually beat me up pretty badly. He's got a much lower team value too here as well.
I know I have potentially some constipated snotty. When are we going to get to see a game?
And I've got guys to level up. I think just 1. Yeah. Blitzer going up again. Well, I can go movement point or armor value. He already has block, strip ball. I could go for something like dodge as well. You don't get a chance at this kind of stuff that often, though. Movement points, armor value, this kind of stuff pops up only occasionally. The movement would be pretty helpful. I've already got things pretty well covered. What I'll often do, if I don't get an upgrade like this, next I would probably do something like shadowing, maybe, or dodge. The dodge just makes me harder to take down and makes him a potential ball carrier. Shadowing makes it so that I can sort of sit on potential runners or catchers and sort of cause problems for them, chase them around. And with tackle, they don't get rerolls on their dodge rolls. And if I can keep following them each time with shadowing, they'll have to keep making dodge rolls and possibly failing them. But I think the movement allowance actually is what I'll go for. It'll make him a bit more useful just in general. I actually had the lineman went up too. Yeah, he got the MVP. He was popped up there as the MVP. So I did roll doubles with him before and picked up guard. So now I think we'll go with block. Make him a little bit more useful. The reduced movement does restrict his abilities a little bit, but not too bad. If I'm mainly using him in the front line and stuff, it's okay. Quite a bit of money, too. Do I need 6 rerolls? It's nice to have more rerolls. I'm already getting an increase to my team value a bit because of having over 150,000 gold. So I might as well spend some money on something. I could just add some cheerleaders and coaches' assistants and things like that as well, which increases my chances of getting rerolls and stuff on kickoff results. That'd be crazy. We'll just go for the reroll, I guess. I've had teams in the past I've gotten up to 8 with, and it's kind of almost ridiculous at that point. But I am having some of them getting stolen for often in the games. If I have a higher value, then they're often picking the Halfling Master Chef, which will steal kind of a random number of rerolls from me. So in a way, having more is more useful. It does sort of give potentially more to my enemy, but they were going to take them anyway. So yeah, we've got a huge difference here between the team values for the final. A little crazy. This is actually the highest value I've had. My other teams, you can see, after playing a campaign with, I think, 10, the Undead were at 1950. And then I think I did 8 previously with the Chaos Dwarves as well, like I'm doing with this in the kind of division. So yeah, with Agile teams, you often will get a lot more points. With passers, you're getting points for successfully passing. If you're very quick and more agile, you're often going to score more, so you're getting more points for that. So you guys are leveling up more. Happens pretty often. Bruiser teams sometimes can be kind of slow to get those level ups, relying a lot more on injuries. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. That'll be about it for today. So probably we'll be playing the final next weekend. I'll have to look at my schedule to see, maybe Friday or Saturday. Probably around the same time as I started this one. So if you're interested, check that out. My earlier streams I also put up on my YouTube channel, which is also Disturbing Puppet. So if you're interested in earlier games, the previous season with my Chaos Dwarves, or other games that I've played, please check that out there. I really appreciate it. So thanks very much for watching, and hope you have a good day. Thank you.